The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of the Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connecting with Kim here on Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network. I'm your host, Kim Droege, and glad to be with you because we strive every week to bring you stories and shows and information that help you live your best life in our corner of paradise. And today will be no exception, I promise you. I'm so excited about this show. So before we get started, I want you to ask you to like and follow our Instagram, Facebook, and X accounts so that you can find out all the information about the show, broadcast schedule, the guests, and of course, my on-air wardrobe, which is supplied by my sponsor, the wonderful Spring of Tampa Bay, who provides safe spaces and empowering services for survivors of domestic violence and their children. And the boutique and the thrift store are now located at their brand new location at 4415 West Osborne here in Tampa, which is an area we call Drew Park. And I want you to go and patronize because you find all kinds of little gems there. And the net proceeds from the thrift and the boutique help support their mission. And they've been providing these services for over 40 years and doing an excellent job at it. So you can also find the audio of our show on Sun Radio, 96.3 FM, and on your favorite streaming platform, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3:30. And so we want you to tune into that too if you happen to miss the television show, which I don't know how you can because we have it everywhere. But having said that, I'm so excited to introduce my guest today. Her name is Jane Hernandez, and she is the president of an organization that's been around since 1959 called the Chiselers. And you're going to find out all about it. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you, Kim.
We're so happy to have you on. I was really looking forward to this.
Oh, well, me too.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to be here.
I know, and Amy will be happy too that we finally got this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little inside joke. So, Jane, I always start the show the same way. I like my guests to take a few moments at the top of the show to share their life journey, whatever parts they feel comfortable with, because there's probably somebody out there that shares some common aspect of your life journey, and we want them to be so interested that they're going to stay and listen to this. It's going to be a fascinating topic. I can't wait. So,
very good.
Take it away.
I'm born and raised here in Tampa. Went to school here local in the Hillsborough County public school system. And then for college, I did attend the University of Tampa, graduated from there. Through work, I had a friend who said, you really should come and learn more about the Chiselers. I think you'd be really a good member and happy to be a part. So I started volunteering with the group to just learn a little more about them and got, caught up in all of it and loved it and became a member. Been a member for over 15 years.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, worked my way up through different board positions, and yes, this year I'm president.
Congratulations.
Which is very exciting.
Yes, it
very
is.
exciting.
Yes, congratulations.
But yeah, it's a group of women, like you said, that was the way it all came together in 1959 was the president's wife at that time of the university, Sunny DeLoe, of the University of Tampa.
Yeah.
She was the wife of the president. And she became very concerned about at that time, the building was really not in good shape. The building, had been left vacant after being a hotel.
The HC Plant building.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It was originally built as the 1891 Tampa Bay Hotel.
Yeah.
By Henry Plant.
Right.
And it had been operated as a hotel for many years, but in the 20s, things, really changed, of course, as
Of
we
course,
know in
yeah.
this
Well,
country.
we went through a major depression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
after the roaring 20s, right?
right after things were really great, it got really bad.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That happens a lot, right?
that does, right? So after his death, the hotel, really didn't continue any further, and the building had been vacant actually for a few years. And the city of Tampa at that time, the University of Tampa was not quite the University of Tampa at that time. They were a community college
Oh.
located at Hillsborough High School.
Oh, okay.
And the city offered 2 buildings to them to, move the school to. One was on Davis Island, and the other was the old hotel building. So they chose that one, fortunately, because the other building is no longer in existence. So clearly, to me, the University of Tampa moving into that building saved that building.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
In 1933, they moved there. But it was Sonny DeLoe, Dr. David DeLoe's wife, who then, kind of got involved with wanting to spruce up some of the fireplaces and see some of these grand rooms come back to life.
Right.
So she, in the basement, found some old tiles that had originally been on the fireplaces, and they were covered with mortar on the back. And the cost to have a tile person do that work was prohibitive. Mm-hmm. So she got a few of her friends together, and they would sit and work with muriatic acid and gloves and work on these tiles, trying to clean off the back. Mm-hmm. And one of those gals said, we're just a bunch of chiselers chiseling these tiles, and the name stuck, and more than 60 years later, we're still the chiselers.
I love that.
It's a great story.
I love that. I love that. Because, having a great name for an organization is half the battle. Because you want people to remember your name. So
Right.
who is going to forget the Chiselers, right?
Right.
And the whole story behind how it came about is just so fascinating. Because, and also, I think it's such a testament to those women that they would be willing to sit there and painstakingly and laboriously clean these tiles that had been removed from the fireplaces, right, in order to restore them back to their original beauty. So anyway,
isn't that great?
It is so I love it.
I know. So over the years, it just kept, changing as we all have to change. They had started with fundraising as far as, having teas and money trees and that kind of thing. Eventually, they worked toward having what they called a thieves market, which has, again, changed over the years quite a bit. But they started having a little market that they could sell, at different times. It was maybe even casseroles that they made or handmade items they made. And eventually kind of changed into, we had donated goods. I think in the very beginning, some of these gals would pick things up off the side of the road. So,
well, one man's trash, another man's treasure.
Exactly. Right? What it's worked to is that, items are donated to us, and we have been holding for, this year will be our 60th market. They've held these markets, and that's probably our biggest fundraiser, to do that. We also have a walk in the fall, and this year, for the first year, we're having a dinner, a preservation dinner.
Oh,
that we're very excited about.
Yeah.
Mostly because it gives us a means to let people know why we're asking for money. We feel like people come to the market and they love the market, love to shop, but maybe don't make that connection that those dollars are really going toward the building to preserve the building.
So when was that building built?
1891.
1891. Okay, so, and now it's such an iconic symbol for the University of Tampa. And
of this city.
And of the city, right?
Yeah.
But a building built that long ago, it takes not only the money, but the artisans that know how to do that work to keep that building.
It is so amazing. And in the years learning more about the building, it's just made me more exciting about it. We've had our preservation architects who've been working with us have actually done a scan and a model of the building where they've scanned every detail.
Oh, wow.
Because every window is a different size because it was handmade. This model allows them to have the measurements for each inch of that building without having to go there and physically make the measurements.
So technology,
It's
right?
been huge.
Yeah.
Huge. But that's, it's really great. But that building, it's a quarter of a mile long.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's amazing.
With many rooms. Because after all, it was a hotel, right?
Yeah.
When it first started.
Yeah, there were over 500 at that time.
So, okay, so let's back up a second because, you hold various fundraisers, so we want to understand the fundraisers. So the markets is the first thing you mentioned, and is that at a certain time of year?
It is. It's always during spring break
Yep.
at the University of Tampa,
Yep.
which falls in March. So that week depends on, their week. It's typically the second week in March.
Okay, and so tell me a little bit, I mean, I've been there, but tell our guests out there a little bit more about it.
Well, yeah, it's huge, and it's, oh my gosh, it's everything. We have garden, books, art, furniture, china and crystal that have been donated that, people, maybe it's an estate or whatever, and beautiful pieces. We have a collectibles department, a boutique and a bargain where, the bargain's maybe the stuff that's come in and it's kitchenware or whatever, and boutique is a little more higher end, a fabulous silver department. And then we also run a silent auction online. So during the year, we pull out what we think is really
special.
really special.
Really special.
Or really fun.
Yeah.
Even,
Yeah, well, that's got to two nice categories: special and really fun.
And we put that in an auction, and it's fabulous. It's so much fun.
So how long does the market last? How many days?
It's 1 day.
1 day.
This year we are doing it where it'll be on the Saturday, and then Friday before we're having early access.
Yep.
$25 gets somebody in, and they can get in there before the crowd set on Saturday morning.
So give me an idea of, if this is one of your major fundraisers, give us an idea of how much money you can raise off that market.
So last year we managed to bring in about $170,000.
Well, good for you, because
was a good-
there's expenses associated with conducting a market like
Absolutely.
that.
Well, we're so fortunate because we couldn't do it without the University of Tampa.
Right.
They provide us with a warehouse with labor to go out and get donations that are too large for somebody to throw in the car and bring.
Right.
And then also they let us use Plant Hall.
Yeah.
So,
which is important, right?
Very.
Yeah. So if you're just joining me now on Connecting with Kim, my guest in the chair is Jane Hernandez, who is the president of an organization called the Chiselers. And this is a local organization here in Tampa, been in existence since 1959, and their sole mission and purpose in life, and it is a great one, is to keep the 8C plant building, which is part of the University of Tampa, an iconic structure, and actually a symbol of Tampa, to keep it preserved and usable. More importantly.
Well, yeah, because if it isn't usable, it's not going to be around.
No.
So yeah.
So you have the market. Okay, you mentioned this year you're going to do something different. You're going to
Brand new.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Let's hear about
so
this.
So in April we're going to have a special dinner, preservation dinner, and so excited to say that the Bank of Tampa is our presenting sponsor this year. So for our inaugural dinner, they've agreed to do that for us.
Great.
And we'll have cocktail hour, we'll have dinner with a little presentation to, thank all those donors, and then to let them know too, what's still out there that we're really needing to tackle.
Right.
Why they want to still donate.
Right.
And then we'll have a fun dancing and after party. Just,
And where's this going to be?
This will be at the Vaughn Center, which is directly across from the building. So at night it is so beautiful up there because it looks down on Plant Hall. Those minarets lit up it's fabulous.
Oh yeah. Oh. Well, this is so wonderful. So it's the inaugural dinner, but I know you're hoping it's going to be a success.
That's what
are
we're
you going to
hoping.
have like door prizes and things like that, or is
We're
it
still, and thanks, Kim. The big thing is, we're like,
You can count on me,
we keep
Jane.
trying to figure out, what can we do? What can we do? How can we make it better? So we are kind of working on some fun things like that. Part of that, I guess, is, who we can get to help us with that. Because again, like you mentioned, expenses. The fewer expenses we have, the more money we have to give back to the building. So
Well, so let me back up because I want to understand. People are going to pay a ticket price. You're going to have a sponsor at Bank of Tampa. Wonderful for them. That's great that they're doing that. You're going to buy a ticket. You're going to come to this fancy schmancy evening, right?
Right.
And you're going to have dancing and dinner and all these fun things. And you're going to introduce them to, here is our mission, and these are some of the projects and needs that we have.
Right.
So what I'm trying to get to from that point is there, are you wanting them to pledge on the spot that night, or are you going to just hoping to whet their appetite and get them involved, or what is the purpose behind the gala other than that? You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, right.
That's why I asked about the
people
prizes.
do ahead of time.
Yeah.
And yes, we will do some of that fun stuff. We haven't nailed down exactly what those things are. We've got a couple different things, but really kind of asking them to do it up front, to be a sponsor, and come, not just buy a ticket, but, to be a part of that so that we can raise those funds. So.
Oh,
yep.
cool.
Yeah.
In my year's time in my revolution around the sun every year, and thank you, God, for giving me another one, I go to a lot of events, right?
Right.
So it's always interesting to see a lot of fundraising events because they're usually organizations that are raising money. And it's always interesting to see, and pick up little tidbits from, attending different events.
Right.
And, what they're going to do at their event. Because you want it to be, obviously you're doing this, you want it to be a success, and you want it to be a repeat event, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You mentioned the market. Now you're going to have the Scala. Was there one other thing that you...
In the fall,
The walk.
we've had for 3 years now a walk. And really we started that as a means to help members have a means to, be a part of something that then they can push out to, their friends, their family, because, they're encouraged to get a team together.
Right.
So where, maybe your donation was $250 as a member, but then you manage to push out emails and let your friends and family know what you're doing and what you're interested in, and I mean, because most of the time it's just saying about that building.
Yeah.
Anybody who's from Tampa or has been here knows that building.
Yeah.
And how fabulous it is. And
Oh,
then when
fabulous.
they find out, really, that's how it works. Oh, you know what? I'll help you do that. I would like to be a part of that, and they do. So we started that as kind of just a different type of fundraiser.
Right.
And it's been great. We've enjoyed doing it and having the opportunity for people to. The walk is around the campus, which is a beautiful campus and has had so much happen there. So a lot of people, you drive down Kennedy Boulevard, but
Right.
you have no idea.
No, once you get inside.
Yeah.
You have to get
Yeah.
inside the campus.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's teams, and are they sponsored for how many? Is it like a set number of miles or steps or whatever it is?
It's really, and we call it a walk. We haven't called it a walkathon or anything because it is. It's just meant to be a easy walk or stroll, through the campus, and just to kind of appreciate. And we made a point to go all around the building. Also, this year we included the university has had art installations donated, and we made a point to try to be sure
Incorporate
that we
that
saw
in.
those.
Yeah.
'Cause they're
good
beautiful
idea.
and yes.
Yeah, good
Yep.
idea.
Yep.
In the few minutes we have left, let's help the audience understand what are the challenges the Chiseler faces in preserving the HC plant building. Give them a taste of what that's all about.
Yeah, well, so right now we have two, we work really hard to try to get grants from the county or the state so we can kind of double our money. Right now, the two grants we have open that are in play are with the county, Hillsborough County, and they are to work on the foundation. And as a friend said to me, well, there isn't a building without a foundation. So yeah, it's not pretty, it's not obvious to anybody.
It's not fun and sexy,
It's not,
but it's fundamental, right?
It's critical.
Yeah, critical,
and,
fundamental.
So work that we thought was probably $500,000 is now over $1 million.
Yeah.
As they've gotten in there and gotten.
Isn't that always the way, right?
It's like an old house.
Yeah.
It's never.
You tear down one wall, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, and then it's like just, so.
It's never what they told you in the beginning.
Yeah.
So
the foundation.
So yeah, foundation
Critical.
work is big, and there's a lot going on that really is in the next couple of years is really going to come up and come forward and trying to get things done. But the building really completely, to really get it going, they're looking at like $150 million.
Wow. Okay, that's a big nut to crack. But
Lot of work.
fortunately, we live in at least I found, Tampa is a very generous community. I
Yes.
mean, when they get behind something, they really get behind it. So you've got this foundation issue. Okay, what else is a challenge at the HC
So
plant?
the other thing we've really been working on trying to get some funds going for is the east veranda, which is the side that faces the river, which is, really needing some work at this time as well. From top down, from the roof, the gingerbread that everybody sees and loves on the front needs a lot of work. It's, rot and wear. Drainage issues. The deck or the floor is really not really correctly pitched.
Right.
So it really needs to be completely redone. The
Right.
balustrade, if you're up there, you'll see some of them are not in great shape. So they really are at the point where they need to be completely redone. So that, we're talking probably in the $3 to $5 million to do the whole thing,
Okay.
to work the whole thing. In fact, last year we completed the roof over the music room, which is, there's 3 domes on the building besides the, minarets. And one of those domes had not been redone. And to do that roof, which is a really small percentage of the building,
Right.
was $1 million. But it's stainless steel. It's,
Right.
It's all that work that has to be done in
Right.
a certain way that
To maintain not only the structural integrity, but the actual intention of the architect when he designed the building, right? I mean,
right.
you have to
and
stay authentic.
to try to make it last,
Right.
longer. Which we're so close to the water, steel doesn't, isn't going to do. But stainless steel will last.
It will.
Also, last year the deck on the west veranda was completely replaced with a new decking material that will last.
Oh, cool.
Will stay, and it looks perfect. It looks like real wood. It looks like what was there
No
before.
one can tell.
But it's not constantly now having to replace that board and paint that board and whatever. So yeah, it's great.
Do you guys ever work with the Community Foundation Tampa Bay for some of your needs?
I think we have. I'm not real sure exactly. We have had donations from them.
Because some people are really into that, and they,
Yes.
they set up a fund and they want to make sure that certain
Right.
historic buildings are preserved. The other thing I wanted to quickly touch on before we're done is how does membership in the Chiselers work? How do you become a member? How does that
So
work?
members are proposed and endorsed by an active member in the group. Once a year, we had 20 new members come in last year. We've got, I think, 8 new provisionals that will be coming in this year. So it's just getting a member to, and saying, I'd love to join the group, and we'd love to have you in there.
Do they have to pay a membership fee, or?
We do pay dues. Members pay dues, and then, of course, they're asked to, financially support the fundraising activities.
And how many members do you have totally?
Right now, with all levels, probably about 258.
Oh, wow. Okay, good.
So,
All right.
yeah.
And are these members coming from Tampa, or are they from all over Hillsborough County, or Pinellas, or wherever?
From everywhere. It's funny. Some gals have, are new to even Tampa, but a friend, a neighbor who, said, oh, you should come see this or do this or, however. But yeah.
Oh, interesting.
No, I would
Okay.
say they're from all over. Yeah.
They're from all over.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to tell us about the Chiselers that we haven't covered already, or that I didn't think to ask?
Oh. Well, no, just
Because
that
I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty good.
you are pretty good. Just that, as a citizen of Tampa,
Yeah.
I think, certainly you don't have to be a chiseler to have an interest in love for that building. But I would think anybody who lives here in Tampa would want to see that building really thrive. And we need the community to be a part of that.
Absolutely. You cannot
know?
do it on your own. You need everybody in the community aware of, number one, and supporting that effort, because you're right, it is such an iconic image of Tampa, and it's so beautiful. I mean, every time I drive by there, I drive by Kennedy a lot, right? And I'm always like looking over going, oh my God, that is so, I can't imagine going to school there. It must be wonderful,
Yeah, it is.
Right?
I think
Surrounded by all that.
they enjoy that.
Yeah, all that history and architecture. I mean, I really have an affinity. It's easy to pull down an old building and put up something, right? But that's our past. That's our past.
Absolutely. It is. It's what really got Tampa on the map.
Exactly.
It's what started the whole thing. And yes, and I think too, I think people are under the misconception that, that can all be on the University of Tampa. But their funding comes in for education and such, and they do put a lot of money into that building, just keeping it going. So, but, the idea is to support them and make that happen.
Jane Hernandez, I cannot thank you enough for coming on, connecting with Kim and sharing this wonderful story about the Chiselers and the preservation of the 8C plant building. And I just loved this story, so there was no way I was not going to cover it. So thank you again for being my guest on Connecting with Kim. So, you guys, if you're just joining me, my guest today was Jane Hernandez, the president of the Chiselers, and you will have to watch the episode to find out exactly what that's all about and how they got their name, because it's really fun. And I want to thank you for joining us today, and I want to thank my sponsor, the Spring of Tampa Bay, who provides my on-air wardrobe. They've been providing safe spaces and empowering services to survivors of domestic violence and their children for many, many years. They do a great job. Please visit the boutique and thrift store, which is now located in their brand new consolidated location at 4415 West Osborne here in Tampa. That's in an area we call Drew Park. It's up by the airport and up by Raymond James Stadium. So y'all are going to be able to find it really easily, because I did. So I know you can. So support them, because they are a great organization and we love them so much here at TBAE. And thanks always to my crew who makes me look great. Come back next week for another episode of Connecting with Kim. Bye.